So I have Brady as my number one. Here's my available QB rankings.
I love this.
Brady 1, Jimmy G 2. I think Watson's like a conditional 3, then drop off. I think Jameis is 4.
4 over.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll hear the rest.
Mariota. Huntley. So explain to me, if I'm looking for a QB and I'm looking at Bridgewater, McCoy, Andy Dalton, Tyler Heineke, Trevor Siemian, Tyrod Taylor, Case Keenum, Trubisky. Why aren't I offering Baltimore a second-round pick for Huntley?
Because I don't think Baltimore would trade him. He is their ultimate leverage right now. They're in very weird spot with Lamar, where Lamar is now going into yet another offseason without a contract. And they don't look like they're in any rush to pay him. And they finally have a leverage point that we've got this guy behind you who won games and might have played better than you at the end of the season when he was on the field. So I don't think I don't even think he's on the block. Not that he's the most valuable player in the league, but I think in their particular situation and in their offense that he works very well in, I don't think this is the offseason you trade Huntley until your Lamar situation is figured out.
More realistic to be traded over the next 3 weeks, Huntley or Lamar?
The answer's neither, but I think it's easier to trade Lamar than it might be, not easier, but it might be more lucrative for them for what they do to trade Lamar than Huntley. I don't think Lamar is being traded, but you look to a Seattle, you look to a Carolina, you say, give us 4 first-round picks for Lamar. They might consider it.
4? I think
3,
that's too many.
I don't know, 3 or 4. Like, this is where we're at right now. Picks are being minimized, especially with the lack of quarterbacks in this draft. Where if you're Carolina,
you think he's worth 4 first rounders?
No,
I wouldn't pay that.
I think if Lamar Jackson were to be traded right now, he would fetch 3 first-round picks. I do.
I don't think you get more than the Wilson trade. Because Wilson, you got to factor in, Wilson was like, what? He was making mid to high 20s.
Yep.
Lamar, you trade for him, you immediately have to pay him $45-46 million a year.
No, I think 40 would be about the number, but that's still incredible. Eat up the salary cap. But you're also getting a fresh, rebrand for your team, and you got Lamar Jackson, former MVP. I think there's a value to the Lamar brand too that a lot of these teams that are just in purgatory and mediocrity for years would love.
I'm worried about long term. How healthy is he going to be?
Fair.
It's not like Josh Allen's 6'5". I'm not worried about Josh Allen staying.
And Josh Allen's
healthy.
getting better every year. Lamar was good 2 years ago, was great 3 years ago, and last year was hurt.
You could make a case if you have the right desperate team for Lamar, and you're Baltimore, and you're looking at it, and you're going, do I want to pay Lamar $44 million a year or Huntley $1 million a year? And I could have all that extra cap space. I'm getting extra draft capital. And by the way, if we're going to do a fantasy draft of teams that would aggressively look at this in a different kind of way, the Ravens are in the top 3, right? They're the most advanced metrics heavy organization we probably have. So if they crunch the numbers and they're like, all right, from a value standpoint, we should actually go this way versus once we pay Lamar, that's it. And the success rate of these organizations, and I think Arizona's in the same situation with Kyler Murray, where if you're paying your quarterback $40 to $45 million a year in a salary cap league, man, Dallas is another one with Dak. It becomes really hard to have a good team. Dallas waived Amari Cooper.
And yet time and time and time again, these teams give the quarterback the money because the alternative is being you're in the Pine Barrens with
but how many guys are actually worth that money, right? Like Rodgers, definitely. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Herbert, and Burrow eventually.
Yep.
Is there anybody else that you could say like this?
Kirk Cousins is about to make 45 this year. And I don't think, and they could say they're going to trade him or try to restore, but like a lot of people around the league are like, hey, the Vikings at least have a quarterback. They know who they got,
Well, I still like my Kirk Cousins plan. He's just new team every year for Kirk. 1 year, $38 million. Goes to the new team. Like Pittsburgh, how excited would they be to have Kirk Cousins?
They'd be thrilled. How about Indy?
This is great. Indy, whoever.
Can I give you not a conspiracy theory, but a rumor that was floated to me that hasn't been anywhere that I think I just want you to noodle with a little bit?
I can't wait.
McDaniels and Ziegler, who are New England born and bred, they come over, they take over the Raiders. They bring Champ Kelly from Denver with them. They've got this great vibe right now. Everyone's saying that, anyone in that organization, like everyone's into this. McDaniels, who did he love as a backup to Tom Brady for many, many years? Is that the place where they go? And Ziegler, the GM, was with Jimmy G too.
So little roulette where we do a little Jimmy G to Vegas.
Then Carr goes on the market, and then you get picks for Carr. And this is where we're at with the NFL right now, where every team is texting every reporter and texting me and saying, here's something to consider. Don't have it on any sort, but here's something to consider. And then you put it out there, and then people start noodling around on it. And it's kind of why in the heart of NCAA tournament and baseball is having their negotiation, like football is king, because all this stuff, it's not that far off from reality. Russell Wilson was just traded. Like, it happens.
So Josh tries to get Jimmy G. Is the price a second or is it higher?
No, it's about a second, right? And Jimmy G would be thrilled to go to play with Josh and get back together with him.
Plus, we'd get Jimmy G in Vegas, which would be unbelievable. I mean, he's basically there anyway. So then Derek Carr for 1 year on a cheap deal. What is he making? Like 20, 21 for 1 year?
No,
and then you got to pay
more than
or
that,
a little higher.
Final year of his contract. I think he makes more than that.
It's not more than 25.
It's not crazy,
it's cheap.
Though.
Yeah, it's less than Wilson. So then you're a team like you're Pittsburgh and you get Carr, you're doing backflips because you're a pretty good team.
You're Indianapolis, you get Derek Carr. Come on. You're the Carolina Panthers. Suddenly you get Derek Carr. Like, Derek Carr is a top 15 quarterback in the league. So
the best team to take over would be Pittsburgh, because after the last 2 years of Roethlisberger, the guy who comes in and can actually be competent for 4 quarters is going to seem like he's John Elway in the late 90s. So I said Pittsburgh, Houston, Indy, New Orleans, Carolina, Tampa, Seattle are the teams we know need a QB. I have another category called looking around.
Okay.
Is Miami looking around? Are they at the bar with like a Jack and Coke in front of them, kind of like seeing if anyone's going to sit down?
I don't think so. So I got to sit down with their coach. You've sure seen the media. He is everything you could imagine and more media-wise. This guy's going to be either a superstar or a punchline. I'm not sure. But Mike McDaniel brought it at the Combine. And the key is I think he's fun and I think he's funny, and I just don't want him to be the punchline of the joke, because he's also brilliant and he's like got this great mind. And I like the fact they went outside the box and didn't just hire a football guy. He's way more than that, but he also drew up that offense in a lot of ways for Deebo Samuel. And the thing he kept on stressing to me when we were on air on Good Morning Football, but then we also hung afterwards, is that like, my challenge, my goal is to get the very most out of every quarterback I've ever had. And he had Robert Griffin in Washington. He had Matt Ryan in Atlanta. He had Jimmy G in San Francisco. And he's like, Tua has so much untapped potential. He had 4 different offensive coordinators at his time in Miami.
I'm laughing.
He had 3 different offensive lines. So he's selling me on the Tua thing. And I'm like, if they were sniffing around, I don't think that
he wouldn't be trying this hard
on selling on Tua. Yeah.
So I think Steve Ross was like, Tua's our QB.
Tua's our guy.
Tannehill in Tennessee.
Think so.
You think he's there next year?
I'm 80% sure he's there, but you say sniffing around, I can't for certain say that if there was some major blockbuster done that they would 100% be out of it.
Little harder for them to trade him because of would they give him a contract a year ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. The year Brady got
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Vegas, we already covered. Danny Dimes and the Giants.
Not sure there's a market.
We know that they made a run at Wilson. Was that accurate?
I don't think so.
2 firsts, Saquon and Daniel Jones?
I didn't hear that. And I think they want to see what Daniel Jones has. I mean, yes, with Russell Wilson.
We got to see what Daniel Jones has. We don't know yet.
We have no idea, right?
So it's only been 3 straight years. I mean, what could be lurking inside of Daniel Jones? Who knows?
Yeah. I think the excuses are done. I mean, the second and the funniest thing was someone said, like, Joe Burrow just made the Super Bowl after getting sacked 1 million times. Like, I don't want to hear that Daniel Jones has a bad offensive line and that's why he's being held back. Like, at some point, just go do it, and this is the year. They'll know. Trubisky to them, that's been thrown around there because Daboll.
It can't. No.
I don't think it's Trubisky.
Trubisky has to go to a small football city. He cannot go to another big market. He cannot be in New York, Chicago, Pittsburgh.
I'd be surprised. The Giants are, I actually met Danny Heifetz for the first time. Great dude. And he was talking Giants with me. I think he's a Giants fan, and said Giants are in like shave salary cap mode. Over the next few days, a lot of veterans are going to be released. Like, I don't see them making a big swing at quarterback.
We need him to go, like Carolina's perfect for Trubisky for a year.
Think so.
Just kind of slide under the radar. Yeah. Minnesota, we sure they're not at the bar ordering a second Mai Tai.
All right. So Kirk is set to make 45, I think, this year. I'm not going to say it's a prove it year, but here's my info on Minnesota. When Kevin O'Connell was interviewing for that job, and that is a really coveted job because those owners spend money, there's great resources, that fan base is amazing, and they have the best training facility in the entire NFL right now, this new one they built in Eagan. When he was interviewing, I could tell you that Cousins was a big part of what he was talking about because they were together in Washington, and Cousins really made it obvious that he was the guy that he would prefer as the head coach, and he ended up the head coach. So I would be surprised if they were to ship Cousins in the final year of this contract. I also would be surprised if Kirk took a contract restructure. That's not what he's ever done. And Kirk Cousins,
why would he?
You guys paid me this. I'm going to make it. That's it.
So Justin Jefferson will be demanding a trade soon. Detroit, they have 4 drinks in them, but it could be another Goff year. They might run it back.
I think it might be.
Wow.
It might be another Goff year. I think it might be.
This is great. I can't wait till he causes us a 3-team tease next October.
They won 3 of their last 5 games. They are so riding high. And
oh my God. What team could win 3 of their last 5 and be riding high?
Riding high. And like, it's all about culture and all about that stuff. And as of now, Goff's the quarterback.
Okay. Extension decisions. So Baltimore, we think that drags on.
I think so.
I think they're too disciplined to either panic
they haven't done
or
it yet.
overpay Lamar. We've just never seen them do it. I don't see them doing it. They did it once with Flacco. It was the classic. They won a Super Bowl with them. They kind of had to, and they regretted it the whole time. Arizona, Kyler Murray.
Look, when he came out with that Instagram screed, the agent, Eric Burkhardt, I think the feeling was a little bit of, all right, I'm doing this for my client and we're all pay him now or else. And I could tell you the Cardinals side of it kind of was like, or else. Like, I don't think they moved mountains to make it happen right then and there. And
they extended the GM and the coach. So they clearly cast their vote.
I talked to Cliff a bunch about it, and he's like, me and Steve, the GM, like, we're tied to Kyler. We both staked our careers to him. We want Kyler there. It's like, but this situation's tricky because why does he need to be paid now when Lamar Jackson's won an MVP and is a year older and he hasn't been paid? Or Mahomes won Super Bowl MVP and still wasn't paid. Like, I don't think Kyler's getting it the day he wants it, but they obviously want to extend him and they want to make it happen. But I also don't know,
that's another one. I don't think he's worth more than Russell Wilson in a trade.
What's the market for Kyler Murray? I don't know. I said it on your show, I think, over $1 million picks that he would get like 3 first-round picks, but I don't know. No. After the way that season ended, I'm not sure there's a long line for Kyler.
No way. I think the Wilson thing, in a weird way, set the market a little bit.
Here's another deal. Cardinals owner, Michael Bidwill, is like, it's like a family-owned business. This isn't Kroenke or this isn't Stephen Ross, where like, it's just sometimes where you play matters. And like Cincinnati's not going to rush to pay Joe Burrow the second. It's a family owned business. They don't do it that way. So I don't see the Cardinals rushing at the timeline that Kyler Murray and his agent want.